3 ways that you can improve your cash flow by making a couple of simple tweaks. Now, we're going to go through that in a second, but what I really want you to do today is to stick with me to the end of this video, because I'm actually going to tell you how you can get your hands on my new book, Pour to Profit, for free. So as members of your Profitable Auto Repair Shop Facebook group, you're already in the right place, but you need to watch the video right to the end so you can get my instruction on how you can get it for free. For now, let's talk about 3 ways that you can quite simply free up poor cash flow in your auto repair shop. So things might be feeling tight cash flow wise for you month on month, and this is something that is unfortunately, while it's not ideal, it is common inside our industry, and we speak to many shop owners who find that things are tight at the end of every month when it comes time to pay the accounts, and there's a hole somewhere and they're not quite sure how the hole got there or how to close it. So what we're going to discuss right now is just simple ways, things where you don't have to take massive action, but we can at least get moving. Good afternoon, James, or good morning where you are in Perth. So the first thing that we want you to do is to literally, after this video finishes, hop up, walk out to the workshop floor and have a look around where you are keeping stock. So there's a tendency for shop owners to buy in more than they could ever realistically need in a certain period of time to on-sell to customers. Now, if you're in a rural area, even some regional areas, then yes, it is quite important that you keep stock of your most popular things. That's not so much what I'm talking about here today. I'm talking about for all of our metropolitan shop owners who are on a good freight run. So my own previous workshop had, hourly freight deliveries, parts deliveries from multiple parts suppliers. Now that's what I'm talking about, where you can get access to things just with a phone call and it comes over in the next hour. If you are carrying thousands of dollars worth of stock in those high consumable products, but you're on a good freight run, then you are actually doing yourself out of money that could be flowing through your business right now. You could be actually using that money to pay down overdue supplier bills, to be putting money into other areas of the business where it's sorely needed, instead of sitting on a shelf gathering dust, and you could have just ordered it and it would have been over with the delivery in an hour's time. What happens is shop owners get caught in a negative cash flow cycle, and what this means is, particularly in businesses that run accounts for their customers, is that you will order in a part and you will pay for that part before the customer pays. So effectively, you're financing credit for the customer. And especially if you are in a situation where you have a bad paying customer, you'll go into the negative financing the parts for that particular customer, and you may not be paid for 60, 90 days time or longer. So that's what we call negative cash flow. You've had to finance it before you've actually received payment for it. And if you run too many situations like that, then yeah, of course, your cash flow is going to dry up. So have a look around today. If you're a tire retailer in particular, and maybe you only do it as a convenience thing for your customers so that they can have everything done all in the one go, but the same thing applies. Are you close by or are you on a good delivery run for tires? And do you really need to be keeping 5-figure sums of money worth of tires sitting around on your shelves? I know the answer for my previous workshop was no, because 100 meters down the road, there were 3 tire wholesalers and retailers that we just established good relationships with, and we could get tires really quickly. So that put $20,000 worth of stock we no longer had to carry back into our business. So these are the things that you need to be looking around for. Remember, this particularly applies to those on good freight runs, not so much somebody that needs to order things in advance for work to be done on vehicles in a few days or a week's time. That's not what I'm talking about, though it still is a good idea for you to have a look around to see, are there things that are not moving off your shelf at all? Maybe 5 years ago, you were seeing some vehicles more prevalently than what you see them now, but that means that stock isn't being used anymore. So how could you move that stock on if it's been sitting there for years? Do you go to eBay? If it's only a couple of months old, can you do something with the supplier? These are the things that we want you to look at. This is relatively simple stuff. It's a time when you might even want to do a full stock take of every part and fluid that you have in the business. If you've never done a stock take and that information's not in your management software, now's a good time to start. We need a benchmark to work from. The second thing that you want to have a look at today, or this week at least, is your payment arrangements. So payment arrangements with customers and the ones that you have with suppliers. So if you run a large amount of accounts to individuals, to mums and dads, then you really want to have a look at that practice, because again, you fall into a negative cash flow situation when you give out an account if you have to pay for the parts first. And these days, most mums and dads, most small business owners understand that it's a pay on the day situation. So if the mere fact of me saying this to you is making you feel a bit queasy in the stomach, that you might ask your customers to pay on the day, I'm going to ask you to really lean into that fear, because the cash flow that you dream of is on the other side of that fear. And if somebody is going to use you for credit because they don't want to pay up front and they're a continual poor payer, it's not actually the kind of customer that you want. The effort that goes into chasing poor payers isn't worth the financial reward that the invoice generated to begin with. So if you've got a high percentage of your weekly revenue that goes to accounts, then I really want you to look at this, moving to pay on the day. It is accepted practice. It is best practice. Don't be the credit card for your customers just because that's the way that it has always been done. Now, there's going to be exceptions. Fleet companies don't like paying on the day, but I haven't come across too many of you that have a predominantly fleet business. There are a couple of you, but most of you that are in, general to the public repair of any kind would be in a position where you can be paid on the day, and that is obviously best for cash flow. On the supplier side, and many of our Australia and New Zealand auto repair shop owners will know the benefits of being with Capricorn and having access to 30-day end of month accounts. If you are in Australia and New Zealand and you don't know the benefit of Capricorn, then I highly recommend that you check it out, because it is a wonderful cash flow tool. So having 30-day end of month accounts for you to pay is ideal. You paying cash on the day for things, even if it is slightly cheaper, is not ideal if it's a big repair job and you go in the hole before receiving any money from the customer. And if you do that repeatedly because you don't like having accounts, or you've been in trouble with accounts previously, you're going to find that cash flow is going to be tight until you come up with a different mindset around this. So you might have 30-day accounts where you have to pay the bill 30 days from the date that you bought it. That's better than paying on the day, but ideally, where you can, you want to move to a 30-day end of month situation. Capricorn's wonderful for that, as I mentioned, if you're in Australia or New Zealand. This helps us do the job and order the parts, then be paid by the customer, and then pay for the parts afterwards. So we avoid the negative cash flow situation that I mentioned just before. The third way that I want you to have a look at reducing your cash flow hassles is to look into how much overtime you are paying your team. Now, this is another one that makes people feel a bit sick in the stomach, because you immediately think, well, if I stop paying overtime, my team's going to get up and leave. But there's a couple of different ways that you need to approach this. Overtime is not acceptable if your team isn't charging out all of their hours before they get into overtime. So if you're paying overtime to have your guys there to finish jobs, but they're not charging out their hours, so their productivity isn't where it should be, it's got to be over 90, then you are paying dead money and you're rewarding your team for their lack of productivity and efficiency. So why would we do that? And you've also got to factor in that where you think you've got team members who are motivated by overtime payments, you might be shocked to find out that if you offered them extra lifestyle benefits instead, that they'd go for that and you'd reduce your overtime bill. So I've come across shops that, are paying thousands of dollars of overtime every week to technicians and team members who are not charging out all of their hours to begin with. And that's not a great situation to be in. And I've also come across shop owners who believe that they must pay that money in order to keep the team member, but we're shocked to find out that actually what they'd like is to have an extra day off per week or per fortnight so they can go and hang out with their 3-year-old, or because their wife is a shift worker and if they had an extra day off per week or per fortnight, they would get to spend a day with them. So your answer to your overtime problems on one hand is looking at productivity and efficiency. On the other hand, it's considering a benefit to your team members like a 4-day work week or a 9-day fortnight. So they're my 3 tips for improving your cash flow almost immediately. Certainly things that you can get to work on today and for this week. Now, I mentioned at the start of the video that we were just about to launch my new book called Poor to Profit, an auto repair shop owner's guide to financial success. And I wanted to do something to, reward you guys for being part of our Facebook group and for interacting so much and participating in so much best practice sharing. So we're actually going to make the book available to you guys early and for free. So all you have to do to get your hands on a copy of my new book, and it's in digital version, we're not talking about a hard copy here. All you have to do is go to the comments under this video and write the words, yes please. And we will come along and message you on Messenger. So if you don't see us immediately in your messages, then go and have a look in your message requests, and we will deliver the digital version of my new book, Poor to Profit, that way. So I hope you found today's live useful. I know you'll find my new book useful. It was certainly great fun to write, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback about it. If you want your own copy now and for free before anybody else in the industry, just comment yes please below, and we will see you again for another live. Have a good one, guys.